In this video, we're going to be talking about the Chiaogoo Interchangeable tools and accessories. These are the little bits and pieces that either come with your sets or are available as optional extras that you can get down the track. Now, sometimes it can be a little confusing whether you've bought the small set, the complete set, the mini set, whether it's bamboo, whether it's stainless steel. There's so many options that we have for our Chiaogoo interchangeable sets to make it so we can customize it for our own personal knitting experiences. Part of that customization comes with extra little bits and bobs. There's quite a few choices that can be seriously overwhelming. What should we get? What do we need? What don't we need? What comes with the sets? You'll find all the information about what comes with your set with your supplier, so it'll be on their websites or on the packaging of the actual sets, and that'll tell you that all the sets come with cable connectors, they come with end stoppers. But if you're like me, I am not a project monogamist. I need extra cables, extra end stoppers, and there's little things that I've realized over the last couple of years that I just never use. But that's up to me as an individual, hence being able to make it how we like it. Now, the first optional extra, it's a fairly new one, are these rubber gripper hearts. Now, these are designed so that you can actually hold onto your tips and tighten them, because if your tip is not tightened to the cable using the little key that comes with the needles, then there is a pretty good chance you're going to cry and have a heart attack, because your tips are eventually going to come out of your project and you're going to lose stitches. Knitting is hard enough. Well, it's not hard. Knitting is fun, but we want it to be fun without tears. So make sure you've tightened everything correctly. And the little T-pins, they come as extras with all of your cables. There's 2 in with every set that you get. So make sure you're tightening with your T-pins. If I can give you one piece of advice, tighten your tips with your T-pins. I won't be saying that fast. We've got the T-pins, we've got our cables, we've got our tips, we've got the stuff that came with our sets. There's some new things. We have the interchangeable adapters. So because I did the big, ooh, look at all these things, everything's a mess now. Interchangeable adapters. Now there's 2 different sizes. There is the small tip to mini cable, which exactly as it says, tips from 5mm down to 2.75mm, and an adapter can now be connected to a mini cable. The large tip to small cable is perfect for those people who bought a small set thinking I'll never use anything above a 5 and then, or 5mm, and then realize, hang on, I need a 7mm for this project, but now I'm going to have to buy cables for that as well. I love my interchangeable adapters. They have meant that I have not had to buy extra cables that I'm not going to use very often, because I've had to buy a set of tips that I need for 1 or 2 projects. And generally we have an area that we prefer to knit into. So I prefer to knit with a sort of a 2.75 up to a 4mm. And I don't generally go above a 4mm needle, but every now and again, I want a 7, I want an 8, I want a 10. And so rather than having to buy the cables that go with it, I just pick up one. I've just picked up this pack of adapters, there's 2 in it, and then that's 1 for each needle tip, and then just go from there. Now, these adapters also mean that if you have the new mini sets, which are the 1.5mm up to the 2.5mm sets, these that are great for socks. If you've got those sets and realize I need a 2.75 tip to go on to continue on this project, you can use this connector, the small tip to mini cable, which means exactly that. You can use your smaller tips from 5mm and down onto the mini cables that are designed for the tiny tips going up to the 2.5mm. So many numbers. And so it's just really helpful to have some of these little tools. Now, I was saying earlier that I'm not a project monogamist. There's no way. If you've watched way back in the histories and the deep dark depths of the Fiberific videos, you will see a video called My Whips Confession. Now, my confession for today is that number hasn't changed all that much. So if you want to have a look at that video, I'll put in a link to that. It's kind of funny. And yeah, let's just say there's a lot of projects I still haven't tackled in the last nearly 12 months and I'll just start a new one. Okay, so because we know, not a project monogamist, the end stoppers are my friends. This means that I can take the tips off, screw the stoppers on, and steal the tips for another project. Yeah, that's been known to happen quite frequently. I do that a lot. So I have a lot of these end stoppers. I find them to be really good. If you're in a pinch and you don't have any more end stoppers, you can grab your cable connectors that come with your set and screw the two ends of your cable into the connector and make a complete circle so that your project can't escape. So that's another way to use the cable connectors, because in all honesty, I don't connect cables. I personally just prefer to buy the longer cable. I've not needed anything longer than the 125 centimeter cable. That's the longest cable you can get at this stage. So I've been using my cable connectors as end stoppers, sort of, so that I can steal the tips for other projects. So that happens. And obviously cable connectors mean that cable connectors' real job is to connect two different length cables together to give you a longer length. So if you've got your cables that came with your sets, then you'll have 3 different cable lengths and you might want to connect 2 of those together to get a much longer desired length that you need. You end up with a small section that you need to travel your loops over. For the most part, they travel fine. Every now and again, you've got to give them a little helping hand. And again, as you all know, completely lazy crafter right here. I don't like to use the cable connectors for their purpose because I am slack and I don't like to actually have to do anything extra like move stitches. So I'll use them as end connectors. This is the Twist Mini Kit. It comes separately. It's not included in the mini set, but it's a fantastic little box of tools, and it comes with extra end stoppers, and it comes with extra keys, and it comes with a little red heart. There's so many little bits and pieces, and it comes in a gorgeous little case which puts everything together. Because if I have one single complaint about my Chiaogoo experience, is that there's not a little case like this for the rest of our goodies, for the other sizes. So I tend to use my Nancy's Knickknacks Notions case. I've got an old pink one that I keep all my bits and bobs in, just for my Chiaogoo connectors and ends and keys, because I have amassed quite a collection over the years because I need more and more cables because I just steal the tips and don't finish the project. So that happens regularly. So I do want to talk about how to connect your Chiaogoo tips. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you how to connect your cables and tips. So here I've got some 7mm bamboo tips. This can be done with your bamboo tips or your stainless steel tips. On either your nylon or your steel cables, it doesn't matter, all the joins are the same. So you just put it on, I can't see, there we go, and screw that in. Now you may think that's tight enough, but it really just isn't. So what I would say, I need to do this the other way because I need to use my left hand. So I wrap the Chiaogoo tightening rubber gripper, just because I'm in Queensland and my hands get really, really sweaty. Pop that into the little hole and tighten it as tight as it'll go. Okay, and we do that again on the other side. So screw it in. Pop in the key, grab the rubber gripper, wrap it, and tighten it. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this, so I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. See that join right there? You should not be able to feel it. Your finger should slide straight across it. If you have an issue with your join, whether it is a slight gap, it won't tighten properly, anything, you take your tips or your cable back to your dealer. because it should be that smooth. There should be no way for anything to get caught between the needle and the join. If there is an issue, it could be something like a manufacturing issue. It does not come up very often, but it does come up. Okay, and then obviously to undo it, you're going to need your key again. And pop your key in and undo it. Now, I wanted to show you how to use your large tips onto your small cable. So I'm going to need my tips. Now I've got a small cable. So I want to put the adapter on and slide that into the hole there and tighten it, and do it again with the other. We need to make sure everything is tight because we don't want anything to come undone while we're knitting. We don't want anything to make us cry while we're knitting, okay? So then we screw that into there and tighten that with the key. Now, it's the same deal. You shouldn't be able to feel any of those joins. Again, it should be just feeling the difference in the thicknesses, and that's all. They shouldn't be able to catch on any of the little joins. So that's how we use our adapters. So it's the same theory, using the small tips onto this adapter onto the mini cable. It's exactly the same logic and theory. Use your little heart, use your key. If you lose your keys, find a pin. You must tighten them. Do you like the new background? We'll see how it comes up. I like it. I think it's pretty. One lucky commenter this week will get a set of Chiaogoo tips and a Chiaogoo cable for you to have a go with. Don't forget to click like if you like this video, click subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you want to make sure you're not missing any videos, make sure you click on the little bell icon that's next to that subscribe button. If you've got any questions or any tips about using interchangeable needles, make sure you pop that in the comments down below. It's time for you to fill your universe with fibre fun. Off you go. I'll see you next time. Bye.